You'll notice he no longer suffers delusions of humanity.
Affirmative.
This gonna sound crazy. It's coming from another place.
Welcome back, tribe. Now we're gonna tackle Gruesome Newsom, the governor that was up for recall, who called his opponent, Larry Elder, a white supremacist, and maintained his position as governor, is now up for recall again. And he has some cockamamie shit to say, so we're going to take a look at that today. California, there's something wrong with y'all. Let's get to it. Out of California, the very man that won his recall election by calling Larry Elder a white supremacist. Yes, they did, and those crazy motherfuckers got away with it. Sure did. You crazy Californians went for that shit. You damn liberals. The same man who shut y'all down during the start of the pandemic, while his ass was out at a restaurant with his family, living it up, and you were cowering in fear at home. So without further ado, we're gonna get to it. So first, we're going to start here with Kelly Wong.
Ancient Chinese secret.
I find it suspicious that her name is Kelly Wong when she's a representative from China, right? Or so-called China. Well, apparently, this monkey has put this foreigner on the San Francisco Elections Commission. And, as you can see in the post, this is when Xi Jinping came back a couple months back. He came over here to California specifically. And now we know why. So we're going to go ahead and roll the footage.
咁就其實喺2年前我嚟到三藩市嘅時候咧，咁我就認識咗好多原來三藩市有好多嘅權利嘅喎，好多權利係好多非公民啊、移民咧都可以享有嘅，包括咧就算你唔係公民咧都可以咧去做委員去影響政策嘅。好多時其實我哋華裔啦或者亞裔嘅聲音咧都比較薄弱，咁咧特別係識講中文或者其他語言嘅人咧更加少咧係有個代表性嘅喺個議會上邊，所以我覺得亦都因為咁咧，我就覺得我好想代表我哋移民嘅聲音。其實我哋都一樣有交稅，我哋一樣對社會有貢獻，但係咧我哋政策上咧好少有我哋嘅聲音。
喺華人權益促進會任職倡導嘅黃永軍係香港移民，佢今日喺三藩市市參市佩斯金陪同下宣誓成為選舉委員。作為非公民嘅佢形容成為選舉委員嘅過程歷經唔少挑戰。上任之後，佢計劃喺決策方面為移民同唔識講英文嘅選民發聲，提升移民社區嘅投票率。選舉委員職責包括監察選舉，確保選舉公平公正舉行。
The fact that that video was completely in Chinese and she didn't speak English should really be alarming to you. In conjunction with the Chinese mass migration that's going on right now. I live in Arizona. I know what I'm talking about. All right. Y'all f***ed up, California. And when your ass is facing the wall, facing the Chinese firing squad, I don't want to hear shit. There ain't gonna be no goddamn rescue efforts. Ain't gonna be no feed the Californians, none of that.
No doubt about it. When you have the lowest black unemployment, lowest unemployment for Hispanics, lowest unemployment for women in 70 years, one of the most significant jobs records of any president in 3-year period in American history, more jobs being created and startups being started in this country, inflation now cooling and an economy continuing to boom. 39,000+ Dow. I mean, it's an extraordinary record. And we just have to make the case, and that's what campaigns are about. We're out there making that case.
If you believe any of the bull that just came out of his mouth, I had beachfront property for your dumb ass. Look, man, The economy is not cooling. Excuse me, inflation is not cooling. There is no record job creation. You're putting people back to work that you put out of business. And you're employing foreign migrants that you're bringing in here. You, the bot horde, have to stop believing these lies. Because a simple Google search or your search engine of choice will show you that everything he just said is bull. Okay? Look at the economy of California. Does that make you think he knows what the f he's talking about? Now, a lot of you will say he's stupid or incompetent. I'm here to tell you it's neither of those things. He's not stupid or incompetent. He's doing his job to a T. He's a hand puppet, not only for the U.S. federal government, but for Xi Jinping. All right?
Ancient Chinese secret.
Better surrogates. I mean, she's defining the opposition of Trump incredibly effectively. I mean, she's making points I'm applauding every single day about his temperament, his capacity, his unraveling in real time, and so I think she's been incredibly effective. So I hope she stays in personally.
Brian Tillman.
Y'all hear this nonsense? This man's out here promoting Reshma Haley. Okay. A representative of the fake-ass United Nations. What's her record? What has she done? I don't know. And then he goes off onto his Trump derangement syndrome rant. How is Donald Trump unraveling when I'm watching Joe Biden fall downstairs, misspeak, have the 1,000-yard stare, shake hands with ghosts, raise my gas prices, raise my cost of living, spaces out when he's supposed to be giving speeches and remarks? Can't y'all see that you're being gaslit? Don't believe what your lying eyes and your lying ears are showing you, right? Just gotta wake up, and if you don't, you're gonna be in a world of hurt when shit goes left. I want y'all to pay attention first to the caption this mouth breather put over this video. He's saying, how good is Gavin Newsom? Poll jocking President Biden and his so-called accomplishments. And then he goes around on another Russian witch hunt. So let's go ahead and see what they got for us.
About you, Governor, days after that special counsel report came out questioning the president's age and his memory, the Washington Post reported that anxious Democrats reached out to top Biden donors to ask, quote, when is Gavin getting in? Or how about Whitmer or Shapiro? The buzz has not stopped. I know you've been asked this before, but do you still rule out a run in 2024?
You got to be kidding. I am here celebrating the extraordinary accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration, making the case that we need to make to lift up the issues, lift up the record, drive contrast with the Republican nominee to be Donald Trump, so that we can win for 4 more years.
Have you gotten any calls, Governor, encouraging you to run?
It's all idle chatter. It's all you know what? That's a sideshow. I think what Democrats need to do is worry less, do more, continue to overperform as we have, continue to win, make the case. Don't be ashamed of 4.1% GDP over the last 2 quarters. Don't be ashamed about the alliance management of the Biden-Harris administration. Don't be timid about making the case for the record of this administration.
So you're ruling it out 100%.
It's not even an interesting conversation.
Okay.
And by the way, I think it's a damning conversation, frankly, the other side wants us to have. And trust me, I know the Mishigosh.
Hey, I'm not going to say what race, what people, I can't say that.
coming from the other side. I'm deeply mindful of the anger machine and all the entertainment industry out there on Fox and elsewhere that love ginning this stuff up. At the end of the day, not only has this train left the station, but we get to enjoy a record of accomplishments as we make the case in a re-election, the likes of which we couldn't have even dreamt of, even as a Democrat last century.
Trump says he's ready to...
Look, folks, you can't trust motherfuckers like this. You see how he lied without breaking a sweat? You see how easily it rolled off his tongue? What Biden administration accomplishments? They didn't lower inflation. They are the cause of inflation. Let's be clear about that. They've destroyed the border. And in consequence to that, they have destroyed urban society. It's a sinking ship. And on top of that, they're pressing for wars in 2 different parts of Eurasia. Soon to be trying to pick a war with China. Setting us up for, you know what they're setting us up for. World War III and the invasion of these here so-called United States. Look what this man, as I said before, has done to California. I can't believe that people are buying this. It just shows me that I was right to choose freedom over melding in with society, because y'all are going off a cliff and you're going there fast.
Last year, 2 California teachers sued their school district in California, saying they had to lie to parents regarding their children's gender status. And now they are suing Governor Gavin Newsom and the Attorney General out there directly over what they're calling a dangerous political agenda. California teacher and plaintiff now, Elizabeth Mirabelli and attorney Paul Jonah, join us right now live. Good morning to both of you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so Elizabeth, explain why, because of your school district, you've had to lie to parents.
Well, a policy was rolled out to all teachers, and it required us to, when meeting and speaking with parents, to withhold critical information about their child's mental and emotional health, and specifically refer to that child by one set of names and pronouns in front of parents, and then during the school day, change to another name and another set of pronouns that parents were unaware of.
Right.
So basically, I was teaching this child to live a double life.
Man, oh man. So explain, and you've had a student or students in your class who this applies to. How did that make things challenging for you?
Well, it was tricky. It was confusing. A teacher is a very busy person. And in addition to my roster, I was supposed to memorize names and various unique pronouns for a number of students.
You already know what's coming. Time to spin back on these raggedy ass parents. If your kids are going to these public schools, I believe you should be jailed personally. But I'll settle for you at least telling you that you ain't shit. You see, they wouldn't teach your kids how to go behind your back if y'all were doing your jobs as parents and educating and
refer to that
your children
child
yourself. So, what needs to be done? It's time to get rid of the public school system. Okay? It's time for y'all to put the American dream to rest and get back to biological human functions. The biological, correct family unit. No one's to blame here in this instance but the parents, because they wouldn't be able to do this if y'all weren't complicit.
What about the right of people that want to start a family? And think about this, Jake, you know this, everybody knows this. You saw the stats, 65,000 births due to rapes since Dobbs in 14 states. Apparently, what the Republican Party is saying is the rapists have more rights to bring those babies to birth than families that are trying desperately to have the privilege you and I have had as fathers and parents. It is a disgrace, and it's a political problem for them, but it's a moral issue. And I found what happened in Alabama disgusting. And by the way, you have an AG in Alabama that also is out there promoting a travel ban that wants to criminalize travel for anyone that seeks an abortion out of state. That's how extreme the state of the Republican Party is.
They're trying to make you believe that rape leading to pregnancy are out of control. And I'm here to tell you it's simply not true. They got the stats on it. You notice he didn't pull up any sources. He just said it. Because he knows that his voter base, number one, is stupid enough to believe it. And number two, they know that people like me are going to be censored when we talk about it and call him out. Okay? Most of the women getting abortions, like I said before, are not getting abortions because they were getting abortions because they're irresponsible.
Proposition 1, which is our bond and our reform of the Mental Health Services Act, which is overwhelmingly supported. And then you have reforms that are long overdue. Going back to when the reforms began in 1967, when Ronald Reagan led a bipartisan effort which began the process of deinstitutionalization in the state of California. And by the way, just for historic terms, this is actually interesting, I think, to many people that are listening. 37,000 psychiatric beds in the 60s in the state of California. Today, 5,500. That process of deinstitutionalization occurred in the 60s, Ronald Reagan then governor, but also extended in the 70s and 80s. And we never made up for the alternative community-based care. That said, Proposition 1 addresses that substantively.
As we say over here at Delusions of Humanity, welcome to the Asylum. In those time periods he just mentioned, what was going on? A little thing called MK Ultra, right? Which led to our open air asylum that we all inhabit today. They made people crazy. Then they closed down the isolated crazy houses, which is really the buildings of my ancestors. But we ain't gonna go there right now. And made the whole world, the whole dome, the mental asylum. And that is why I choose to self-isolate, to keep away from the bot horde, the living dead. This is California, the people that legalized and subsidized being a junkie. So now when you go out into San Francisco and you go eat, you gotta watch a homeless man take a shit while you're trying to eat your steak. And when I say a homeless man taking a shit, I'm talking about he's standing right in front of your window at the restaurant, taking a deuce with his cheeks facing you. He just admitted that the federal government released maniacs onto the population. And being a maniac can sometimes be contagious, as we've seen in the last decade.
We have agency. We can shape the future. Future's not just something to experience, it's something to manifest. It's our decisions, not conditions, that will determine the fate and future of this planet as it relates to the issue of climate. And I couldn't be more proud in the tradition that is this office, going back decades and decades and decades, to take that baton, to continue to advance these partnerships globally. Because we understand that we are, we recognize our own inadequacies. There's a humility here and grace as it relates to the world we're living in, and a need to understand, not just to be understood, in relationships to these partnerships, in relationship to our people-to-people engagement. We have agency.
They still doing this climate, bro. Don't y'all understand that you can't take people who work for the so-called government seriously when they're talking about climate change? Because the government has weather manipulating weapons. This is not science fiction. They spray above you every day, and then they want to run around talking about climate change. They're poisoning natural sources of water, but they're talking about climate change, and they're trying to place the blame on you and me, when we need to be kicking the shit out of them. Their policies, all that grandstanding, kick the soapbox from under these motherfuckers. You want the climate to stop changing, Gavin Newsom, then you motherfuckers need to stop changing it. It's that simple. I've been to California in the last 10 years. I've seen the smog that you're responsible for. You and Moonbeam. Alright? This foolishness has to stop, bro. They gaslighting people. And we're just letting it go down. We need to be removing these people from office. And I'm gonna leave it there.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on.
I am a human being. I exist.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Delusions.
Send the word.